Hey guys, welcome to Beating Baseball the Old-Fashioned Way. Tonight we're going to talk about picking pitchers and specifically about two advanced stats that I use that helped me tremendously when picking a pitcher and helped me decide to use Max Scherzer quite a bit last night when he did have his 20 strikeout night. So I'm just going to get right into it. So there's a tool on DailyFantasyWinners that is called strikeout splits. Or it's pitcher splits, and it talks about it, or it has a few different statistics. One of it is WOBA splits. Basically, this is a stat just says how good or bad someone is against lefties or righties. Also has home runs per 9 splits, basically how many home runs someone gives up against righties or lefties. And then we have something that's called strikeout per walk splits. So what this is it basically says what the difference is between the strikeout per walk ratio between hands for different players. So for example, Clayton Kershaw has a -4. That means his strikeout per walk ratio is 4 better against lefties than it is against righties. Dallas Keuchel, it's also equally as high. For lefties, this number is about -2. Would be, I would consider a high number, or -3. For righties, a number like 1 is a bit better. So Bartolo Colon actually strikes out, has a pretty good ratio here. And the reason is righties are usually going to face more right-handers than left-handers. Left-handers are usually going to face a lot of righties. And so that number matters a little less. So on to Scherzer last night, because if you look at Scherzer, now this is updated for today and we need it for yesterday, but we can find these numbers also on FanGraphs. And if you see, you can see that Scherzer strikes out about 1.5 more per 9 against righties, and also walks a lot less. And this walk ratio is really important as well, because it means he's going to throw more pitches, or he's going to be able to go deeper in the games because he's going to have to throw less pitches per batter. He's going to walk less people. And so when you see this lineup that he got to face against the Tigers, something stands out a lot as soon as I saw that. And what stood out is that there are 7 right-handers in this lineup, which is pretty abnormal. Scherzer usually isn't going to see that because baseball managers are aware of this number, that he really just dominates righties. And so when he gets 7 righties like this, it means that he's going to walk a lot less people. He's going to strike out more people. So even if it isn't a bad lineup or a high strikeout lineup, this is going to help something for a guy like Scherzer quite a bit. That just moved around for some reason. Not sure why. Now, so that's one thing. I think these pitcher splits are really important, and I'll show you how important they are in another example with Bartolo Colon, because tonight he faced the Dodgers, and Colon has been doing really well. But as you can see here, he has pretty big strikeout splits. He strikes out righties and also has decent WOBA splits. He does a lot better against righties than lefties, and also lefties hit home runs off of him. And he's really paying the price tonight against the Dodgers, who have a ton of lefties. And as you can see, he's already given up 4 runs. Not a good line so far, and a home run to Yasmani Grandal. So these numbers can be really, really, really important and can have a huge influence on the game. David Price, who has a -2, which is, again, for lefties, is not terribly high, actually had a good, decent game against Houston, who threw out a ton of righties, but he's going to do okay because he doesn't need those lefty bats in order to have high strikeouts or high strikeout to walk. So one other thing that was combined that made Scherzer a really epic play is something that I like to look at, which is umpire data. So actually, a lot of umpires don't have the same strike zone. Some call a wider strike zone, some call a smaller strike zone. It's just dependent on who the umpire is. And there's actually pretty vast differences between their zones. So FantasyLabs has a cool stat where they've tracked the umpires and basically have a plus-minus assigned to each umpire. As you can see here, this guy Ryan Blackney has a -1.3. Bill Miller has a +0.8, and that's for pitchers. So pitchers do, I guess, +0.8 better on average when Bill Miller is upping historically, which is definitely not a huge difference, but is a little bit of a difference. Now, what I like to do is combine this with Baseball Prospectus's numbers, because what they have is something that's called strikeout to walk ratios for umpires. So my assumption is basically if an umpire is allowing a very high strikeout to walk ratio, it means that their strike zone is very wide. And if it's really low, it means that their strike zone is really small. So if you look at here, you see Bill Miller is also on the top of the chart with a 3.27 strikeout to walk ratio, one of the highest in the majors. And it does seem pretty consistent for year to year. In 2014 and 2013 as well, he was up here. So when I see this number, this high strikeout to walk ratio on Baseball Prospectus, and this number, a plus almost 1 for the ump on FantasyLabs, that tells me that this ump is really, really good for pitchers. So just another factor that was nicely in Scherzer's favor to go along with the fact that he was at home as well. So there's a lot of factors in Scherzer's favor tonight that were more than meet the eye. And you know, the Tigers aren't known as that high strikeout of a lineup, but because of the righty lineup they put out and because of this ump, it actually was an epic matchup for Scherzer, and it really paid off with 20 strikeouts. So in conclusion, these are just a couple of stats that I look at when trying to determine whether a guy is a good matchup. It's also important just if the matchup has a bunch of guys who strike out a lot. But these are really great factors and factors that not a lot of people look at. So if you want to improve your pitcher game in daily fantasy, definitely check out these ump stats and these pitcher split stats on Daily Fantasy Winners. So I hope you enjoyed this video a lot. Hope it was informative. If you have any questions, you can tweet me at Max Steinberg. On Twitter, you can subscribe to these videos. I'll be producing a lot more. And I hope you like this video, and good luck picking your pitcher in the future. Thanks, guys.